post office.
It is estimated that there are 2 million assaults every year in the workplace, or 38,000 each week. The challenge for managers and employees is to try and differentiate between the individual who is difficult as opposed to the individual who poses a real threat. While it is impossible to predict violence, people who often act in violent ways may display certain types of behaviors before they act violently. Some early warning signs of potentially aggressive individuals may include veiled or indirect threats. For example, something bad may happen to you, or you better watch your back. Or conditional threats, which are if-then statements. If I get disciplined, then some people will fall. Fascination and identification with violent perpetrators or murderers. Making excessive or intimidating references to other acts of violence. For example, the way they treat us around here, somebody may go postal. Loss of impulse control. Psychosis or hallucinations. Being a loner or feeling alienated. Inappropriate, bizarre, odd communications to coworkers or staff. They may say things such as, radio waves are penetrating my brain, or making intimidating or frightening comments about weapons, such as, I've been practicing with speed loaders to fire my revolver as fast as a 9mm semi-automatic weapon. Demonstrating a special or excessive interest in police, fascist, militaristic, survivalistic activities or groups, or followers of extremist religious ideologies, making threats of homicide or suicide, documenting other people who they believe are causes of their problems. They may keep notes, make lists, for example, a hit list. They may conduct surveillances on others. Bullying, seeing oneself as a warrior for a cause. A very high-risk situation is when an individual makes a very specific and direct threat of harm to an identifiable target. The more the person specifies the threat in terms of a plan, a place, a time, a motive, and a method, the greater the level of risk. In fact, these details show premeditation, planning, and foreseeability. We would like you to view a self-made personal video by an individual that goes into a McDonald's in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and starts shooting people. Once the police come, the individual shoots himself. As he talks to the camera, we see how he displays many of the warning signs we just discussed. Please be aware that there may be some cursing and inappropriate language.
That's reserved for me. That's for my own use right there. In the end, I've had enough. As you can see, I went out this morning. I bought the ammunition. Got my clips ready.
This clip shows he may be suicidal and overwhelmed. He acts with premeditation when he purchased weapons in order to launch an attack at the workplace.
Right here. This is me. There's the fish. Gotta say goodbye. I'm very seriously considering driving over to Motorola and shooting my supervisor. Very, very seriously considering it.
He is now making a specific threat of harm to an identifiable target.
Ah, there's a nice thing. I'm not a Nazi, and I just think it's a cool looking flag too. You know, I kind of like it.
The flag suggests his fascination and association with neo-Nazi extremist organizations.
So, But anyway, I don't like being around people. I hate fucking people. Everybody I meet, all my relatives, I've fantasized thousands, millions of times about killing them. It's better this way. Because if I wasn't gonna do this now, I would ended up being one of the worst serial killers in this country's history, without a doubt.
Here he demonstrates a sense of isolation and alienation from others. Death for him would be a relief from the pain of his life, and his life would be over.
It's a shame what our society has come to, how corrupt society. Look at you. I mean, you can't. You gotta keep your doors locked on your houses 24 hours a day. A guy in Chicago a couple weeks ago stole a car. Police chased him. He pulled in someone's driveway, walked right into their house, took the lady hostage. A stupid bitch. You know, people are victims because they let themselves be, and they get caught because they're stupid.
He perceives that society is unsafe and you have to keep your doors locked. He blames the woman who was the victim of the home invasion, almost as though she invited the attack. He then says people are victims because they allow themselves to become victims. The irony is, here he is planning a mass shooting, but doesn't see that as an inappropriate form of violence or breaking the law. He seems to feel that he is almost entitled to murder others because he feels he was victimized by society. This sense of victimization, to him, justifies his causing harm to others.
Look at Gacy. Man, that son of a bitch had so much area he could have covered to get kids instead of taking them from his own, however he did it, from his construction sites and shit. That's crazy, man. All he had to do was drive 5 minutes to Harlem Irving Plaza. That son of a bitch, there's so many kids over there. He never would have got caught, never. Bundy fucked up. Big time. And that guy they just caught in New York, fucking idiot, driving around without license plates, man. These people are stupid. I mean, Jesus Christ, you have a little common sense. Dahmer, man. I understand that son of a bitch so good. I understand everything he went through. And that's what I would have been. Because I can't control myself anymore. My thoughts.
Here he is referring to other killers and murderers. He studied their techniques. Moreover, he recognizes that he is losing his impulse control not to engage in violence.
I guess I should have been straight and I should have took the help when I had it. I wouldn't be here right now. Guaranteed. It wouldn't have come to this. I mean, sometimes I have sanity in me, and like right now, and I just realize that I just gotta end it. It's crazy. There's nobody else in the house, and I hear shit.
Here he describes how he wishes he could have been different and regrets not accepting the help his organization had offered him. This suggests that even though somebody may be extremely angry, suicidal, or homicidal, if the organization skillfully opens up a dialogue with the individual, they may be able to get him or her into counseling. Counseling could teach them perhaps how to cope and solve their problems and keep them below a threshold where they might otherwise choose violence as a viable option.
And I could put that gun in my head. But why should I, man? You know, it's a little bit of payback time. I'm sane. I'm perfectly sane. Perfectly. There's nothing wrong with me. It's society that's crazy. You're all nuts.
Rather than just kill himself, he externalizes blame for his feelings and predicament. He feels that it's society that is crazy, and because he has been harmed by others, he is now justified in shooting others. When specific threats of harm to identifiable targets are made, the organization must act immediately to prevent the specified harm from occurring. They must assess, diffuse, and/or implement protective actions for identified targets and assets. Actions may include separating the individual from the workplace, engaging in dialogues with the person of concern, or initiating security actions to protect the workplace. Such measures of monitoring the situation should be in place until there's a degree of confidence that the individual has successfully resolved his or her anger and is no longer presenting a threat to the workplace. The organization may wish to develop resources of an internal threat assessment team, law enforcement resources, threat assessment experts, and community resources that can assist in determining the level of risk and available help to support the individual. Community resources may include the EAP, an employee assistance program, counseling centers, and domestic shelters. In trying to understand the degree of risk of a person who makes a threat, it is helpful to explore the following areas: the individual's motives, their feelings of victimization or hopelessness and helplessness, what circumstances may increase or decrease the likeliness of an attack. Prompt reporting threats to management, representatives from human resources, health and safety, or leadership will allow the organization to initiate preventative action to help reduce the possibility of violence, address problems early, help the individual who may be in distress, initiate security actions appropriate to the level of threat, and reinforce a corporate culture that shows care, respect, and an understanding of all of its members.